All right, awesome. Clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. Clap your hands twice if you can hear my voice. All right, cool. I hope you guys like Splice. Splice is super interesting. Celine really wanted to teach that one because she says she really loves Splice. I personally don't really like Splice. I think it's kind of confusing. It's not. It's a great tool. It's a really powerful tool, but I haven't really needed it very much, and I just don't. I don't know. I don't have an affinity for it, so that was really cool to get to hear someone who really likes it teach that. Anyway, so how are we doing on arrays? Yay, nay, okay, okay. So just do a quick, brief overview of what we went over, and then I want to just touch on objects, just an introduction on objects, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into objects tomorrow. But for this morning, let's just start, this evening, whatever. We'll just start a little bit with arrays. So, okay, what's something we learned? What is an array? Somebody? Yeah, Henry?
It's a string.
An array is a string?
No, it's a bracket thingy.
All right, that's making me nervous. Kelvin?
It's like a collection of data separated by commas.
Beautiful, right? It's a collection of data, which could be a strings, but, right, so arrays, right? It's a collection of data separated by strings, separated by commas, strings of the brain, you and me, Henry, separated by commas inside square, right? Brackets. Okay? That's what an array is. All right. What's something an array has in common with the strings? Somebody else. Isaiah. Yeah, they have indices, right? So they have. I'll just write index. Index starts at 0, right? So we have like this box of stuff. Starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And we have like item 1. We also have item, well, just different items, right? Okay. So we have different things inside. Index at 0. How do we key into an array?
What?
How do we key into an array? Marvin?
Array, square bracket, whatever.
That's right. So we have some kind of, whatever this array is, square bracket, the index that we're trying to retrieve, and that's it, right? This gives us back element at index. Yes? All right. Great. What else do we learn about arrays? Somebody else want to share something? Okay, Jones. Yeah, they could be multi-dimensional. I got lucky yesterday. I'm not gonna try to spell it again today. But I'll say like multi-D, right? AKA a matrix. And that is arrays inside of arrays, yes? Kind of interesting. I can't go the other way. And keep it square looking. Left. Nope. Okay. Okay. Multi. Right. We key into these the same way, right? We just would be able to keep going. So that would be like matrix at. You can kind of think of it as row and column, right? Right, 0, 1, 2. If it was set up like this, you would put the first index would be the row, the next index would be the column. Patrick? That they have methods. That's like a string, right? So arrays, they have methods. What's some of those methods we learned? Gilbert.
Pop, push, unshift.
Yeah, pop, push, unshift, and shift. I like that. Mute, do they mutate the array? Yes, right? You do this, the array is permanently changed. Right? What one's pop do? What's the last one? What's a visualization to remember that? Champagne bottle? I'm into it, yeah. Right? That's like. Good artist, yeah? Push.
It pushes something into it.
It's like pushing it in, right? Element to add. At the end, right? Think of that as like pushing. So, the hands. Okay, pushing. Unshift.
Push it to the beginning.
Pushes to the beginning, yeah.
Two U's go together.
Element to beginning, right? Because of the U connection.
U connection.
Right? That's how we can remember. And then shift
It pulls from the front.
pulls from the front. So removes from the front, and we can think of it the one that's left, right? The one that's left. Okay, great. We nailed those. What else did we learn about arrays? Anyone got anything else? We learned concat. Great. What's concat do?
It combines.
What is it, Crystal? Yeah, it combines multiple arrays, right? So we have concat. So we have an array dot concat, and it takes in another array to form a mega array. Concat, does this mutate the array or not? No, right? No mutate. Okay. What else? A couple more things we learned. Yeah.
You can't equate arrays, so you can't just redo an array. Say equals. You can't say array 1 equals array 2.
Great. So we'll say no built-in. Built-in equality check. So 1, 2, 3 equal to 1, 2, 3. And we'll say like does not work. Okay. What else did we learn? What else did we cover? Right. We can loop through them. Yeah, right? We can loop through them just like strings, where we have our for. We can do let, well this is, initialization. So if I was going from the beginning, I equals 0, while I is less than array.length, I plus plus. And then we can do something, right? And we can imagine that array at I is the element. So each element is going to take a turn as the array.I, right? In our loop. Each element takes a turn, right? So that allows us to update outside variables or examine things to see if this is what we're looking for or something else. So far, so good. I think there's one more thing we covered the other day. It also has very, it's connected to strings. Okay, length. Okay, so maybe we have a couple more things actually. Right, we have length. Arrays have, I'll put it up here, have a length property. Excellent. Yeah, Doug? You can join them. That's right. Okay, so that goes under our methods, which, all right, I think I'm going to delete. Are we good with this over here? So, delete this now. We know what arrays are. I'll keep that property. Okay. You can join arrays. Join them. What's join's argument? Join's a method, yes? Does it take an argument? What is the argument it takes? Conceptually.
What you want to join by, so.
Thank you.
Space, comma, plus,
Bingo, right. It's what you want to join things by. So, what will be in between each element? Right? This returns a string. Yes?
So join and concat that.
Concat is adding two arrays together. 1, 2, 3. Dot concat 4, 5, 6. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very different than join. Right? Join is taking an array, turning it into a string, and putting the element or the argument in here in between each item.
You positions for join too on the argument? That was the case here, right?
What do you mean by two positions?
I mean, if I want to, let's say the same example that you are writing on the whiteboard.
This is two separate things.
No, I know, but you want to use join on this one,
I wouldn't do that.
no?
Like, what do you mean by I want to use join on this one?
On my array, I'm gonna use join. Join is gonna put something between the elements.
Right? And it comes back as a string.
It comes back string, okay?
Right?
So here, if I have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I want to put 1 between each element, I have to use join, right?
Oh, so you're saying you want me to also then do dot join? That's the only way it would work.
I'm trying to get it to understand. Forget about concat. I'm just using the same example, the same array that you have. I'm not using concat.
Okay.
So if I want to add something between the elements that you have right there, yeah,
Okay.
it's dot join, and then do I need to have a starting position or not? Or just put
It's
whatever element?
whatever you want to go in between things. So if I put a dollar sign,
Uh-huh.
it's $1, $2,
Exactly.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, that's how join is. Yeah.
So it's whatever you want to add between each element.
Yes. And I highly, highly recommend that you play with these on your own, outside of class as well. If you're not 100% certain how it's working, play with it. If I've said anything up here yet that isn't like, oh yeah, then play with it. Like tonight, go through it, have fun, experiment, try to make something with it. Okay, so we got join. What else do we cover? Anything else? I think there's another method in there. Yeah. We did split. Yeah, split was for strings though. Right? Split was the inverse of join. Split, it's 4 strings. Inverse of join. So definitely could use split, but that's just for strings. Isaiah? We use slice, right? There's one. Right? So we had slice. Has nothing to do with splice. Please do not mix those up. Okay? Absolutely do not connect them in your head. A lot of people try to connect them and like remember them. It's like, no. Just you have slice. That's one method. Splice is entirely different. The naming is just, they happen to be similar. It's like trying to compare ice cream and
Speed.
cream corn. Like it's just like totally different. Has some similarities in there, but they're not behavior-wise totally different. Okay, so slice. What do we know about slice?
It doesn't mutate.
Not mutating. Love it. No mutation. Great, very important. How does it work? What's its arguments? Somebody else? Yeah. Does it remove it? No, that was splice. That's what Celine did today. But I like the guess. John. It makes a copy, yeah. But what are the arguments? So if we don't remember this right, I have been keeping up on a highlights doc every day that has all of these cliff notes, essentially. You should have it completely memorized. That Nilbert.
Basically, with the first argument, you're telling it where to start, so it's inclusive, and then the second argument is where it can end, but it's exclusive.
Awesome. So he says it's where to start. Where to start. This is inclusive. And where to end. Exclusive. Perfect definition. Right? If you do not, this is an optional argument. So I'll say optional. If you don't put this argument in, it goes all the way to the end. Excellent. How do I reassign the value of at a specific index? Rafid.
Forget it, I do.
All right. Jay.
You would call the index in the same way that you would print it if you wanted to.
Okay.
Then you would one equal sign, and then you would insert whatever value you like to change.
New value. Okay. Yeah, Kong?
About 4 and off.
For and of?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Kong's asking about for of, because there was that in the lab. I'm not going to teach for of for now. I think it's really super important that you can knock out this for loop first. Like, if you haven't written this for loop 1,000 times yet, or at least 100, I would not be worried about for ofs yet. For of is like a cleaner way to write it, but it's the shortcut way and won't help you gain this fundamental skill of being able to key into things. If you kind of forgot how a for of loop worked in an interview, it would be okay. It'd be forgivable. If you forgot how this loop worked in an interview, it would be unforgivable. So that's why I want us to put a huge emphasis on this one first. We will eventually go over for ofs. So that's by the time you're so comfortable with this one, for of will just be oh, okay. Any other questions on this stuff? Of anything behind me? Yeah. Where do we find the highlights? I slacked it out as a document. I don't know if it's pinned. It probably should be pinned.
I think it is.
I emailed it to everybody. Thank you.
No, but you don't need to get paid.
Well, it's the same document. I keep updating it.
Oh.
You should definitely favorite it, start, look at it every day, every night before you go to bed. Also, you can look at your own notes. They might be better, but if you miss something, check your notes to compare and make sure that you're getting it. But this is how we do reassignment. So if I have an array here, let's say I have this array, I say let array, and I just have it go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I want to change this 2 to be a 6. I want it to say 1, 6. Somebody tell me what I need to do. Danielle?
You do ARR ARR index 1,
1?
and then equals.
Great. So now I can go console.log array, and I can run node at index.js, and we got it. So we made the change. Curious, what happens if I do it at the seventh index. What's going to happen? Anyone who I haven't heard from yet? We're shy group today. Yeah, David.
You just have the regular index, empty spaces till the seventh index.
Okay, cool. Let's see it. So we run it, and we get these 3 empty items, and then that 6. Right? So the array eventually stretches. So I can set items into an array wherever I want, because the index is like a key. Right? And so it says, hey, at this key, open this door, show me the value. Right? So this is kind of the reason I'm doing this now. Like, you don't usually need to do that for an array, depending on, not in this language at least. But this leads us into today's intro topic of objects. So, what is an object? So objects are a data structure what's going on with my spelling? Structure that store key value pairs. Oh gosh. So let me repeat it. So objects are a data structure that store key value pairs. So I don't want to have us think of objects as this brand new, really weird idea. I want us to think of objects similarly as arrays, but just a little bit different. Okay? So, let's take a look at what I mean. So we've got this array, which, if we remember, we did console.log, and we did type of, here, I'll do the top line. I think Doug was the one who ran this, and he said, hey, like, it says arrays are an object. Right? Because under the hood, arrays are very much similar to objects. And there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a few differences which make them just a little bit different. So the first thing we should see, so let's look at our array again and say, like, we have this 1 and this 2. I'm actually going to use fruits. I'm going to say apple and orange, and I'll say a pear. Fruits. And underneath, we can see this invisible indice, where we have this 0, and this 1, and this 2. Right? Are we with me so far? Okay. So, we've been calling it an index, because that's what it is, but you've also maybe heard me refer to it as like keying into it, right? Let's key into this array. So we can also think of this index as a key, right? And so for an array, the key is 0 for the first element, and it gives us that value. The next key is 1, and the next key is 2. Right? These keys are ordered, right? They're in numerical order, ascending from 0 to infinity. Okay, so it feels natural because it's a number key and it's in order, and it's like, okay. But what if I told you that we could look at objects which have a slightly different syntax? So let's say I say let fruit object. And for an object, we do it like that, with curly braces. Okay, and all of our stuff goes into curly braces, and we have our key and value, but instead of it being like a hidden key, that is a signed number. We get to make up the key, but for this example, I'll just make it a number. So I could say 0, and I'll have that point to apple, and I'll have 1, and I'll have that point to orange, and I'll have 2, and I'll have that point to pear. So for almost all intents and purposes right now, our fruit object, or I've put fruit object, is identical to our fruit object. It doesn't have, our fruit array. You should know our objects do not have a length property. They do not have a built-in length. And they don't technically have an inherent order, but for now I'm showing it in this way so it's a little bit more clear. So let's play with this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to console log our fruit object. Clear this, and I'm going to run it, and this is what it comes out looking like in the console. Something you may notice is it's automatically converted our keys to be strings. So we have the string 0 as the key pointing to apple, the string 1 pointing to orange, the string 2 pointing to pear. The key is visible. The key is in string form. But besides that, it should look relatively similar to an array. Doug?
Why, or is this like two-dimensional as well?
What do you mean by that? This is not a dimensional thing.
No.
You can nest objects into objects, but arrays, I don't really want you to think of objects as an array. I just want us to draw the connection of similarity. That helps. So we also have something that's kind of cool. We can do instead of log, I can do console.table. This is kind of fun. This kind of visualizes things for us a little bit better, right? So in this form, it looks a lot like an array. So intuitively, how do you think I could get an orange back from this? Will?
Fruit object,
Yes?
curly brackets. No?
Not quite, but I like that because you're doing a comparison, but it's actually closer than you think. It's all right. I like that. I appreciate that guess. Okay?
Regular bracket,
Square brackets.
you said it's like orange.
Yeah, I want an orange back. 1. All right, let's see if this works. Oh, I don't want this to be table anymore. Okay. All right, we got an orange back. So, well, that's a heck of a lot like an array, right? So if you feel okay about arrays and indexing into an array, you should feel okay about indexing into or keying into an object. It's the same syntax. So that's great. So we talked about fruits array here. So if I wanted to change in my fruits array, the first, if I wanted to change orange to clementine, because I was inspired by Celine's example, how would I do that on this line? I would like to change orange from our fruits array to the word clementine. Repeat.
So fruit, square bracket 1
Yep.
equal clementine.
Do we agree? Okay. Do we need me to run it to prove it? Okay. I agree. Totally. How about, I'll go back to this. how would I change orange in our fruit object to clementine? I'm hearing a lot of little tiny the sames. Yeah? We can say it bigger, right? It's okay if we're wrong. It doesn't matter. We're learning. Yeah, Henry?
The same way you just.
The same way? Yeah. Let's try it out. So we say fruit object at the key of 1, which, remember, we saw that the keys were strings, so I could make this a string right now if I wanted, and it would still work. Equal to clementine. And now when we log our thing, oh, didn't like something. What's it unhappy about? Fruit thank you. In the console log. That's very helpful. I heard people just shouting fruit obj. I'm like, it's written a few times. Thank you. All right, line number, console log, perfect. And we did it. So we got it. So, okay, so it's working essentially the same. So I mentioned that I wanted, before I said, like, what was going to happen if I put something at the 7th index. Do we remember that? All right. So if I wanted to add cherry at the key of 7, let's say, how would I do that? Rob?
Fruit object, square bracket 7 equals cherries.
Equal.
Yeah.
Cherries. Sounds good. We agree, disagree? All right, let's try it then. Yeah, so we got it. Right, so that's it. It doesn't have those empty spaces because it's not actually an array. An array has to have those spaces. It's linear. So let me prove this point a little bit more. Let's forget about fruits for now. And instead, let's make up a person. Let's play God and say, let person, and we'll assign this to be an object. What's a key? What's something we talk about? Like, what's something we have as a person? Hair? Okay. Hair, personality. Let's do like really superficial things like age. Like what? Sex. Height, name. Okay, right? All right. Skin color, eye color, long fingernail, short fingernail. Right? We have like a lot of like things, right? We have all these different attributes, right? Doug? Social Security. He's still going. Yeah, if we keep going, we will list a lot of things, right? We're very complex. Yeah, Doug?
So, going back to the example, we do like A, B, C, would it know that the 7th one would be the 7th letter, or it was
Well, we're kind of getting there. Just give me 5 more minutes. All right. So if we were to say this, let's say so instead of having these names, this is kind of what Doug's poking at because he said we had these 0, 1, 2, 7 as our keys. So what I'm about to propose is that the keys, because we're not actually an array with these built-in hidden keys, our keys can be anything. This is what I propose. So I say, like, what if we have a name? What if a person has a name? So I can write name. Notice I don't have to do a string here. It will automatically convert it to a string, although I could do this as well. Like, I could do that. That's fair game. You'll usually see it without that just because it's shorter for people to write. It'll look a little cleaner. So name, what's a good name? What do we want our person to be named? Gone with? Okay. All right. Well, let's make Corey look really weird. All right. So we got a name, and we'll say that the person's name is Corey. Let's give them an age. How old do we think Corey is? 2. Sure. You're closer than you think. What else? What else did we decide on? Somebody said hair color. Was that what I heard? What? Hair. You just said hair. Okay. We can make this a Boolean, right? I'll say true. They have hair.
They have it.
What else could we have?
Height.
Height.
Small, average, tall.
Sure. Okay. So I'll say size, and we'll say large. I'm actually wearing an XL T-shirt. But anyway, so there's something we should also note here that's a little bit different than what I've hammered into us about arrays. Arrays just said I want everything to be the same type. I kind of like kept, this needs to be this way. Objects, they don't need to be the same type. You can see we've got a Boolean in here, we've got a number in here, we've got a string in here. It's groovy. Objects are a conceptual thing in this entirety, right? Made up of stuff. We have a chair. This is an object, right? We can make a chair object in programming, right? It might have, does it have wheels? Does it have a back? What's its material, right? So there's something called object-oriented programming where you start to have objects interact, very much how we interact with objects in our everyday life, right? You have a human, they play the video game, that's connected to the TV has characters. Yeah?
They have matrix inside object.
Can I have a matrix inside?
For example, for size, right now it can be large, but it can be smaller, it can be medium, it can be
Yeah, so the values can be anything, of any data type, right? I could have favorite data, and this could be another object, right? It could be an array. It's all groovy. Yeah.
So if you had a variable set outside of that object, you can bring that inside of this object. Say if you had favorite fruit equals whatever outside of, and then I use favorite fruit inside of the first thing.
You could put it inside.
Yeah.
Sure, you can add things to an object. Which we did here, right? We added this cherries into here. So we can still add things. So right now we've got this person object, and it's still going to be groovy. So if we go to console.log person, and we run it, we'll see very much what we already have written in our code, right? Because we're just console logging. But we can change things, right? So let's say Corey ages a year, right? I might say Corey, person, and then we key into it. So last time we keyed into it with the number because the number was our key. What is our key this time? Age. And what data type are our keys? Right, they're automatically converted to strings. So I'm going to say person, age. First off, let me just console log this so we can make sure, so we can see it working. Console, oh, I have like an extra S, don't I? Ay. Sorry. Okay, console.log. Do this, push up, and we have 2, right? This 2 is being printed as our age. And now I can change it. So I'm going to say plus equals 1, because I'm reassigning that value. Does that make sense? Right, this is the same as me writing is equal to person at age, so whatever my age was before, plus 1. Whoops, that should be outside of the bracket. Right, this is identical to the last line. And then when we run it, we'll see that my age has been updated to 3. Okay, so this is how we can key into objects. Let's go ahead and set a new variable. So I got married a few years ago, right? So let's add that. Let's say, so we're going to say person, person, and we can give a new key, right? So we'll say married, and then I can set this to true. Save it, run it. We'll see that now the person object now has this key and value stored in it. Questions on that? Ashia first and then Rafiq. What? Okay, Rafiq?
So, when you add the person running there, and all that just adds it into the array object.
I added it on this line. There's no array in here. This is all objects. Yeah. Right. So this was our object. We said we want this key. We want to add this key and give it this value. That's how you assign a value, set something into an object.
So person is the object and married is the key.
Married is the new key. If we look at our object in our console log, this is our whole object. Name points to Corey, age points to 3, hair true, married points to true. So we've just added a new key. We've set a key into our object with the value of true, or pointing to true is what is the other words. Correct. The key acts like the index of an array. The value acts like the element. So objects look like this. Key, value. Brett?
When you add something to the object, is it always add again?
Yeah, it tends to. It seems to, but you shouldn't count on order. Last I checked. Objects have no guaranteed order. Unlike an array, because an array will go through the numbers. There's not a guarantee of the order. Yep.
No, object doesn't have the slice, the top, push, nothing.
None of those. Great question. He asked if object has slice, splice, push, pop, and I said no. Object has this ability to get something by saying like object at key retrieves the value. Object at key pointing to value sets key to point to value in object. That's essentially it. Any other questions? Okay, cool, right? So I think that's a good spot to stop on this today. Tomorrow we'll continue with more. Let this sink in, play with it a bit, and then tomorrow we'll go over a little bit more like how to iterate through it and just see some more objects and play, and maybe a different notation in order to key and set. But for now, work with this, turn this into, know this better than you know your mother's name, and you'll be set. Okay? And that's it. So for the rest of the day, work on what you have left, what you need to do, right? If you have labs that aren't finished, do those, turn them in. I can't imagine anyone's finished their text adventure game yet, so you can work on that. Review, ask John, Selena, myself questions if there's something you're not getting. All right, and make sure you know everything in that highlights doc. Okay? Thank you.